Today I'm going to show you a project with a glass snow globe tumbler. These are not new, but I haven't seen just a whole bunch. I see a lot more of the acrylic tumblers being done on YouTube. I just got these in yesterday. This was my very first attempt. I'm actually pretty pleased with it, but even more so, I'm extremely pleased with the quality of the tumbler itself. So I'm going to put links below in everything I'm using. One of the things that I'm really impressed with is these little plugs they came with. The videos that I've seen, the tumblers didn't come with one. You kind of had to invent them. And they give you a little bag for the amount of tumblers in the box, which is 25. And then you add whatever media you're going to put in here to make your snow globe and seal it off. And you can add vinyl like I did here, or leave it plain if you wish. And I actually am going to come back and coat these in resin, a thin layer. I don't imagine you have to. I think you could probably apply some of the good quality vinyl, and if you hand washed them, they'd be okay for a good while without the vinyl peeling off. But my personal taste would be a thin coat of resin to help seal that up. So let's get started on what everything is here. I ordered these from Stainless Steel Depot. This is how they come in a big box of 25. They're really well packed, as you can see. The lid is this little bamboo lid with the gasket and a nice little silicone place for a straw. I was afraid ordering glass tumblers that they would be really fragile. These feel very sturdy, very nice, clear make. There's your hole. I found this to hold about 3.5 ounces of fluid between the walls for your glitter. So I just wanted to show you what they look like when you get them. Set that right here for now. I use Glitter Hippo. I really like the selections that they have, and they're shipping super fast. I've actually been using them 2 years now. I found these really cool little fall leaves, and I think they're a great size to go in that hole. So I'm going to do a fall pattern one with these colors you see here. I've already put some in some little cups here. Now, so far, when it comes to the shaped glitter, I haven't found an easy way to get it inside of this tumbler, like with a small funnel, because obviously the little shapes are going to get caught up in that hole. So that does take a little while to sit here and push them in, but no big deal, not hard. I also wanted to show you that when you order from Glitter Hippo, they send really nice freebies in their packs. And this is what I got this time. You get their color change stickers. If you hold it long enough, it's like a mood ring, and it'll show their little designs. A little applicator, a silicone mold with their sister company for solar color dust. And they gave me a free glow dust, Invisible Hot Pink. And these are some really cool powders you can apply on black backgrounds, and they have like a flash effect. These are super fun to work with. So again, just a real nice company that I've had extremely good luck with, not only in finding what I'm looking for, but their service is immaculate. So let's get started. Okay, so first things first, you just make sure your cup's all in good shape, not broken or anything from shipping, of which I have not had a problem with. And since this blue one was my first one, I really didn't know how much I was going to add. And my final result, it's a little more full than I would have liked, but it's not just terrible. So I'm going to try to do a little less. And what I was kind of shooting for dry was maybe about 1 inch high. So I'm going to try for a little less and see how that works out. So these are my 3 chunky holos that I want to put in there. And you can see the funnel works okay on these. That's a pretty clean way to get your stuff in there. So you can see static kind of sticks it. I was using the glycerin and distilled water method. So I'm looking at how this would look, trying to imagine filled up. That's pretty good amount. I like that. So this is the slow, tedious part. You're gonna tap some of your shapes out on there and just sort of start dumping them in the little hole there. So yesterday, I'd say this took me almost an hour trying not to get glitter just everywhere. And I'm sure that gets better with time. You get a little practice at this and it will go a little bit faster. So when you're done filling with the glitter, you make up approximately a 50-50 ratio of some glycerin and distilled water. Like I said, I got about 3.5 ounces in there. You want to leave just a small air bubble that will help move things around when you move the tumbler, but you basically do want to fill it up almost the entire way. The total volume of this particular tumbler is 16 ounces. So it's a nice size. When you're done, you put your little plug in. And the plug by itself, I did notice just a little bit of leakage. But I'm going to have to say, in all defense, speaking from experience, I used to keep fish aquariums, really large ones, over 100 gallons. So I have a lot of experience working with water fixtures and things like that. Water is really hard to work with when it comes to not spilling it, leaking, things just doing what you're trying to make them do. So I almost always expect when dealing with water, something's going to leak. And that being said, you could just leave that plug there and, you know, if you lose the fluid over time, just add to it if it's your personal one. I don't know how feasible that would be on something you were trying to sell. So what I had seen in other videos online, a lot of people use this Gorilla Tape to make a plug. So that was the first one I tried. I went over the other plug with it and I've let it sit overnight, kind of like you do with vinyl. You let it adhere about 24 hours before getting it wet or anything like that. A lot of people then come back and over the entire plug they've made with the tape and all, apply like a UV resin layer and cure it. And that sounds really great to me, except that I am personally allergic to UV resin. So that's not very feasible. I get almost like burn-like blisters on my fingers anytime I'm around it curing. Really bizarre, right? But yeah. So in my case, after the tape has cured for 24 hours, I'm going to come back and use a regular 1-to-1 ratio epoxy and create a really thin coat over the tape and let it cure for 24 hours and then go about resining the tumbler as usual. I am curious to see long term how that turns out and if you have any leakage problems or not. And I'm going to keep up with it and make a video. I'm also considering going out and buying a roll of clear flex tape. That stuff really does work as well as they say for patching holes against rainwater and those kind of handy fix-it jobs. And since it is clear, I was seriously thinking that might be the stuff to make your little patch over this hole and it keep the water and glycerin from leaking from underneath. And that is a second factor to consider, that anytime you're working with a liquid lubricant, that stuff is going to get in places you never dreamed. one of the alternative fluids to fill tumblers with or snow globes is baby oil. And I feel like personally that over time is going to escape under your plug, under your tape, and get out and make just a mess. So I haven't tried it yet. It does make a cool effect though in appearance. So that's something you could try if you really wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling this up, and I'll bring you back to show you what filling it with liquid looks like, and then putting my plug on it. And I should have some vinyl cut out at that point to show you what I'm going to put on the outside of the tumbler. But like I said, I just kind of wanted to share this project step by step. I haven't seen just a bunch of videos with these glass ones yet, and some of these products are just really impressive. So there's a huge following for crafting and tumbler making. I definitely want to put the good information out there so people know some of the better places that you get great customer service and really nice products. So I will see you guys in the next step. All right, so I'm back. This is about how much glitter I put in here. If you shake it down, it's maybe an inch deep. If it's not enough, I had a little more here to the side. I did cut out some relatively simple Thanksgiving pattern on my Cricut. I just like the idea that they're all going to allow you to see through, kind of like a peekaboo, so you can see the snow globe. And I didn't want to get overly complicated. It's just to show the process of what I'm doing with this globe. So I'm going to go ahead and add my mixture that's half glycerin, half distilled water. This is the brand I purchased off Amazon. It's 32 ounces and it was less than $20, and it seemed to work really well in the first one, so I'm pretty happy with that one. I used this little bottle, and I didn't have to get any small dropper or anything to finish off the last one. I just need a larger one. This one only holds 2 ounces. So let's see how this is going to look. Also, I did want to add that if you use really fine glitter, it's going to act like sand when it gets wet and kind of bunch up and stay packed in the edges and corners. So super fine glitters are not ideal for these globes. Okay, so that was 2 ounces. I've got another ounce here. Okay, so that's 3 ounces. And there's a pretty good gap of air still there. Let's try just a little more. Okay, I'm going to mix it a little with my finger on the bottom to get some of this air to come up. There we go. There's some of that fine glitter like I was talking about, and it will help to also get the air out of there. Yeah, I don't think I have to add any more. That looks really good. All right, so okay, it's starting to come back out of the top. All right, and check for any other large air bubbles. There's one. I think you kind of need just one to help you move things around, but that's just my opinion. A lot of the people I see doing this talk about trying to remove every last bit. But I think you need at least one small one in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so I have my little plug that they send. See, it just pops right in and out, obviously. I don't think they're really meant for a permanent solution, just to help kind of plug that hole. I'm going to clean this surface with 91% alcohol. Try to get all the glycerin off of here before you put some tape on. I think would be ideal. Now last time, after I put that little plug in, you could see how loosely it fit. I went to shake it up, and that's when I noticed a little bit of leakage. So since I already know that'll happen, I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to get this surface good and clean and cut my piece of tape and put it on there. I used a razor to just sort of clean the edges to make sure the tape fit in that little indent on the bottom and didn't hang over. If you coated that in resin with it hanging over, it would probably make like a little dimple or mark in your resin. So you want it to sit good and flush. All right. And I also try not to touch the tape except for where I plan to cut it off. It would have your fingerprint on it. That wouldn't look very, very good. I'm going to use my little vinyl applicator tool. You can kind of hear there's a little air pocket in there. It's just like vinyl. It's going to get a little air trapped under it, and you can try to get it on out. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep working on getting my air bubbles out and put my vinyl stickers on. I'm not going to prolong your agony of you watching me struggle with those. I'm still really new with the vinyl and the Cricut, so I tend to have to do things more than once. Once I get them on, I will bring you back and show you my resin process. I have resined some wine tumblers in the past, and I imagine it's just going to be similar. So let's see. There's my one little bubble. But it's moving around really nicely. That was a good amount to have in there. It looks really good. So once the vinyl's on, I'll bring you back, show you, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply the little resin coat here on the bottom over the tape. On this one, I actually did pull that other piece of tape out and put a new one on. I just wasn't happy with how it was sitting. I'm still not. Like I said, this is an experiment. I just want to see if this works. And if it works, that's great. But if not, I'll be looking for a better way to seal these bottoms. I'm not going to apply much resin at all, just enough to get around the edges here and try to seal this. It's hard to see the view on the camera, but there is a very mild indentation there at the bottom of these glasses. On the blue one, I've let that tape sit there overnight, and it's really cured on there. And I don't know that the amount of time that you let the tape sit there will make any difference whatsoever. So I decided on the autumn colored one, I would go ahead and do this now and just see if there's a difference. I can kind of feel the edge of the tape there through the glove. All right, I think that's pretty good on that one. If you choose to do it this way, this is definitely something that you just use a little bit of your leftover resin from something else. It would be really hard to mix up such a small amount, because this right here, it's not even like a milliliter. All right, so leave that to sit for 24 hours and let it cure. And hopefully that's a done deal. It's been a little more than 24 hours after I sealed the filling hole in the bottom of these glass globe tumblers. If you remember, I used 24-hour cure epoxy, and this is what the bottom looks like over the tape. It's nice and flush. I've not had any leakage problems. After it cured 24 hours, I sat the cup so that if it was going to leak, hopefully I'd see something like this and let it sit overnight. And I have not seen any sign of moisture leakage, which is great. You could probably use any kind of resin to seal it. Like I said, I have an allergy to UV resin, so I went with the long cure. This was the one I started working on for this video. I applied my vinyl. I do have some very fine pieces on here that don't have a lot of sticky. So I did seal the vinyl with some satin varnish. So hopefully I don't have any pieces peel up while I'm applying the resin. I made about 3/4 of a cup, little medicine cup. That's probably more than I need, but I would rather have a little extra than not enough starting this out. Just like a steel tumbler, if you get a little messy and sloppy and that resin gets on the lip and the inside, once it's dry, you can take a razor blade and it'll pop right off. So I'm choosing to go all the way up to the edge, since the lid actually goes on the inside of this cup. Your lips won't even touch this unless you don't use the lid. So let's see what we come up with. I probably will skip some of this in the video. It'll take me a few minutes to coat this tumbler, and that can be kind of boring. So I'm just doing this for the point of showing that it's just like doing the steel ones. All right, so once you're satisfied that you have a good even coat all the way around, you could either spray rubbing alcohol, use a heat gun, or a torch. Just be careful when using a torch. That is a thin layer. You don't want to scorch your vinyl. The rule of thumb usually is 2 coats of epoxy on any kind of cup, just because 1 coat is really going to be pretty thin. 2 coats kind of ensures that you're going to have a nice, even, pretty finish when you're all done. So this will stay on the turner for probably about 6 hours and then sit overnight. And I'll come back and do a second coat. When it's all done, I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like.